Hi, everybody. I'm just gonna wait just a second here. So let's get started. I'm Terry from Terrific Cards, and today we are going to case the catalog again. So, what does casing mean? Casing is basically it's an acronym for copy. Well, there's different variations of it. Copy and share everything. Basically, what it means is that you take a sample of a card, say, and you take that card and you make it your own by recreating it using maybe products that you have that are different from what's originally used on the sample, or maybe you're using the same thing, just changing the layout up a little bit, that kind of thing. So it gives you a great starting point for your creativity. So um, I'm very excited to share that the mini catalog started this week, and fabulous new products in there for Christmas, fall, and just in general. The one that we're using today is the translucent florals, and it's a great floral thing that really can be used for any season. So I'm really liking this stamp set. So I will show you that in just a second, and I'll show you the card that we're going to make. So let's switch this over to my other camera. There we go. All right, so this is the new catalog. If you are a customer of mine and you've ordered in the past 12 months, you would have gotten a copy of the catalog in your mail. And um, if you haven't and you want one, go ahead and shoot me a message, and I'd be happy to get one ready for you. You can pick one up, or I can mail it out to you. We can set something up. So just let me know. All right. So we'll put that aside for now. So first, I want to show you the stamp set that I'm going to be using. And so this is the translucent florals stamp set. And so we're going to use that one and the dies that go with it. All right, so these are the translucent floral dies. And obviously, if you've seen the catalog before, you know that if you buy both of these together, you can get 10% off. So you buy them as a bundle, right? And we're going to throw in a sentiment from the Wonderful Thoughts stamp set. We're going to use the hello. All right, so there we go. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm going to show you the card that I'm going to make. And so this card right here. All right, so we've got some different elements. I really liked the layering on this. So we're going to make that one right there. All right, so let's put that aside. We'll go back to it at the end. Okay, so this is my card. Right? Okay. First thing that we are going to do is we're going to make our front panel of the card. So we're going to take, excuse me while I move back just a little bit here. We're going to take our water painters, and we're going to use, bring this over, and we're going to use some Moody Mauve, which is one of the new in colors. And we're going to put some into there. Okay, and then I'm just going to dab a little bit of water into a separate thing here so that we can, there you go. So I don't want this too wet. I'm just using basic white cardstock. So I'm going to pick up some of this. All right. And just going to swipe it. So we're going to create just a watercolored swiped background. And it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be difficult. All we're doing is swiping that across there. All right. Most of this background is going to be covered up, but you just want something that's just going to give you a little bit of pizzazz there, right? A bit of depth. You can kind of add some more wherever you want. All right, there we go. Easy peasy. I'll put that aside and we'll clean my brush off a little later. All right, get rid of this because we don't need that anymore. Okay, so this is my card front. And this piece is for 4 by 5 1/4. So it's just going to layer on top of our card front. And I already have one. We need to let that dry. So I already have another one that is already dry. We're going to use that one. And I just want to clean up this mess that I made on my gloss mat. So I'm going to, sorry for my reach over there. We're just going to clean this up a little bit. Get rid of that. Ta-da! Still magic. There we go. All right. So there we go. So this is the one that we're going to use. And we are going to attach that to our card front. So we're going to grab a card base. Ooh. This is a thick white cardstock, and it is 8.5 by 5.5. Now we're scored it at 4 1/4. All right, so we're going to get that card there. Just going to create my thing. There we go. All right. So then, hey, Lexus. Nice to see you there. All right. So I am going to attach this to my card front. I'll just use my Stampin' Steel. I keep saying Stampin' Steel. My Stamp and Seal. All right. Just going to attach that. There we go. So when you're making this, and hi, Lizzie, nice to see you. So when you're making this and you create your background, all you want to do is you just want to, if you want to dry it more quickly, you can use your heat tool just to give that a quick dry on there. Just remember not to overheat it and turn it over when you're doing it so that you don't get that curl as much, so you can heat the front and the back. All right, so we're going to set that aside. Now we are going to make our flowers. So we're going to use the translucent floral, and these are the flowers that I'm using. So we've got this one, we've got this one, we've got our little sprig there, and we've got our leaves. And I didn't pull out the other one, but we're using the little tiny one as well. No, I didn't have that one with me. So yes, we're using the little tiny flower as well. So for the magic of the internet, I have gone ahead and stamped them all, but I wanted to show you and die cut them just so that you didn't have to watch me die cutting all of these little pieces. So I'm going to pull those in here. But what I did want to show you is when you're stamping, I want to give you a little trick for this stamp set. Okay, so we've got a piece of white cardstock. Now we're going to do crushed curry. This is one of the stamps that I haven't done yet. We'll cut this one out. So when you're doing it, what I noticed is I was doing the same thing with this stamp set as I'd done with all my other ones. So I take it and I don't press really hard, but I was pressing into the ink pad. All right. And so when I'm stamping, I'm getting all of these little dots. I'm not sure if you can see them on there. Let's bring it up to the camera just a little bit closer there. So if you can see that, I was getting all of these little dots and I could not figure it out. I thought there was something definitely wrong with the stamp set. I did, however, realize later that there is nothing wrong with the stamp set. It was the way that I was stamping. So I'm clean this off on our chamois here. Okay, so what I want you to do is when you're using this, I want you to lightly, don't even press. You're going to just lay it on the stamp pad so lightly. You're not going to press at all. All right, ta-da. Now I'm not getting those little spots on there. I'm getting a nice image. All right, so a little trick there for you. We've got that. Okay, now, as I said, I've cut the other ones out, but I'm going to cut this one out for you. So we're just going to use my embossing cut machine here and my well-worn pads, tape plates, I mean. All right, so we're going to set that down, and there's my die right there. So I'm going to line this up, and these line up really well. Okay, and I have this wonderful tape that I use when I want to make sure that something sticks and stays in place. And so this is just mint tape. And I like it because it doesn't stick too hard on there and it won't tear. So then we're just going to cut that out really quick. All right. My machine out of the way. There we go. Okay, so then we've got, just going to tear this off. There we go, just set that aside. Set our paper aside because we don't need that anymore. There we go. So now we have our flowers cut out. So you can see that I have two of these ones. I have two of these ones. I have two leaves. I have two sprigs, and I have one of the little ones. Okay, so I'm going to start layering these. What I want to do is I will show you this as well. So on my card and on the card in the catalog, there's a piece of designer series paper. So what I did was I used the Vellum Basics 12 by 12 designer series paper. And we're going to use that just as a little element on there. I will tell you that I made this card once and I did not add this. And I didn't really like it as much. So I realized after I had made the card that I had missed an element that the original card had. And so I went back and tried to figure out what paper I wanted to use. And I really like this vellum. It doesn't add too much to the card, but it does just add that little extra layer that you just need. I'm not sure why, but it just feels like it needs it there. So I've gone ahead and cut this out. Now what I did was I cut a piece of the vellum in 3.5 by 3 3/4. And then I used the deckled rectangle dies. And I took that piece, and I'll show you, this is a piece that I have um, just cut out to the size that I wanted. So then I just took that deckled die and I set it up along the edge on one edge. And obviously it's shorter on this one. And the reason for that is because I want a straight edge on the side of my card. All right. So I just lined that up along this edge. This part doesn't matter. We just want it to be a little bit bigger than what the die is. And we just die cut that out. So what we end up with is this deckled edge on three sides, and then we have our straight edge here. Okay, so that is going to go right here on the card. So now I've got my straight edge lined up against the side of my card, and I've got my deckled edge on the other ones. Now I'm not going to glue that down right now because, as you know, when we use vellum, it shows adhesive through. So we're going to leave that for right now, and I'm just going to place my flowers. So I want to figure out where I want them to be, and I'm going to use my original as an example here. So we're going to kind of play around with these a little bit. Now, if you've made several of the same cards, you will know that it never turns out the same twice. So as much as I'm looking at my original, this is not going to end up being exactly the same. It's always going to be changed. So let's, oops. All right. Go. I want that one there. And then we want this one. Oh, we've got our yellows that we're going to tuck in here. And we've got another yellow that I want to put down here. So I want to cover up, I do want to cover up the stem at the bottom. I don't want really that showing too much. And then I'm going to pop these in here kind of thing. And we'll pop another one up here just like I did before. I want to move this one up a little bit. All right. Then we've got our yellow one that we're going to tuck right in there. So let's see. I think that looks okay. I think I might actually move this over to the side just a little bit. There we go. That doesn't look too bad, does it? Okay. So for me, now you do this however works for you, but for me, I'm going to use my green tape, my mint tape, and I am just going to hold that down. So however you want to do it, I know some people just place as they go along, as they glue, that kind of thing. So now I am going to carefully take this and I'm going to turn it over. And I know that that one moved, so I'm going to move that just a little bit. There we go. Take my vellum piece off of there because I don't need that right now. Okay, so right now all of my pieces are being held with the mint tape. And I am just going to add some glue. So I'm going to go in behind here and I'm going to add a little bit of glue here. So for me, this is kind of the quickest way so that it's held together. So I didn't waste all of that time putting it where I wanted it to be for it to, move around, or when I'm putting the pieces on top, I can't remember, all of those fun things. And all I'm going to do is just add some glue underneath. So I just lift it up, I put a little glue on there, and then hopefully it just stays where I want it to be. And pretty much all I'm doing is I'm just gluing these down so that they will stay in place. Now, except for the one, which is the little tiny flower, because it's tucked in the front there, so it's not going to be there. All right, so then I am going to add some glue just to the middle of this. It's great to find those little tricks that work for you. This idea may not work for everybody. You may find that it's more frustrating or somehow it just doesn't work. And that's fine too. You need to find those little tips and tricks that make your life easier. And it's not always the same as what works for someone else. Okay, so I'm going to place my vellum back where I want it on there. Once again, I'm still not sticking it down. I just want to place it so that I can put my flowers on top of there. I'm going to remove the tape. I'm going to make sure that my little one in the middle there doesn't get pulled up because I know that one's not glued down. All right. Okay. So I tried to keep my glue pretty much in the center of my flowers here so I don't have it all running off the edges. And what I'm going to do is now it's stuck to the vellum, right? So I'm going to take it and I am going to take my Stampin' Seal and I'm going to put adhesive only where the flowers are. It doesn't want to grab today. There we go. Only where the flowers are on the vellum. That way then I've got adhesive where it needs to be and it's covered up. Okay. And what I can do is now I can take a little bit more glue and put it just up here where the pieces are sticking out from the vellum. All right. So our vellum has glue. The rest of our flowers have glue, and we're just going to put that down onto the card front. All right, now don't forget about your little tiny one in the middle there. We're going to put a little bit of glue on here. This glue is great because you can move things around if you need to. So before it dries and stuff. There we go. All right, so we've got a good start to our card there. We're almost done. Okay, last part of this is going to be our little tag. So we've got, I did the tag in, I guess I should tell you what colors I used too. So for the flowers, we used crushed curry and we used blackberry bliss and granny apple green and old olive. All right, so there we go. And for the tag, I used petal pink as the paper for the tag. And then I embossed the hello. I showed you earlier that I was going to use the hello from the Wonderful Thoughts. So I embossed that in white embossing powder. All right, and then, oh, that's funny. I did that backwards than what my original card was. That's okay then. Okay, so then we're going to take our Baker's Twine Essentials pack. And we are going to use some white twine here. All right, so how I do this, once again, you can do whatever works for you. So I'm going to wrap this twine around my hand. Okay, so I'm just going to wrap it a couple of times. And then cut that off. Actually, let's leave that wrapped there. I'm going to cut. Look at me multitasking here. I'm going to cut another little piece off. Okay, so when I take this off of my hand, I'm going to grab the middle. And I'm going to wrap this second piece around here. So the reason that I'm doing this is because I want I don't just want one little bow with one little piece of string on there. I want it to be a little bit substantial. So I take that extra piece and I'm just going to tie that up on there. Okay, so you can see I just got a little knot on there. Then I'm going to take those pieces that I just used to gather in the middle, and I'm going to put those through the tag. And oops, I went the wrong way. Let's go through the front instead. There we go. Okay, so there we are. And then I take those two pieces and let's make sure that I've got the right ones. They were the longest. And we're going to tie them on the back. So now my bow is attached to my tag. It wasn't too much difficulties. All right, trim those down. Okay, ta-da. Oh, that's some really long ends on there. There, that's better. Okay, so there we are. We've got our little tag. We're going to use some dimensionals. Pop those on there. Now, those extra ends, you can have them showing or you can have them cut so short that they won't show on there. That is completely up to you. And we're going to tuck that onto there, just like that. There we go. All right, now we need some bling because we've always got to have some bling. So these are actually opaque adhesive back gems. And embellishments and stuff, we all have some, I'm sure. And oh, I didn't have my pick tool up here. I'm sure we all have some. So I want you to use whatever you've got. All right, so this just happens to be, I wanted some white ones. And so I'm going to use those, and we're just going to kind of put a few on here. How many have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4. Eh, we need one more. Let's throw one right up here. Perfect. There we go. Okay, so this is my card. Yeah, let's turn that around for you. This is my card. Okay, and we'll go back to this is the catalog card. All right. There we go. So we cased the catalog. That didn't take too long. I don't know. I think we're in 28 minutes, less than 30 minutes, and you've got a card made. Fabulous. And your friends and family are just going to love getting that. And it gave you some ideas. And if you want to, you can always go ahead and, oh, let's change the camera back here. If you want to, you can always go ahead and make, cut out a bunch of the flowers and make several cards at the same time. And that way then you're optimizing your time. So that's it. I hope you got some ideas. I hope you had some fun, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.